Hello and welcome back to the channel. Thanks for joining me today. In this video, I'm going to share with you a genuinely life-changing trick that's going to completely transform the way that you work in Logic Pro. Now, I appreciate that sounds sensationalist and clickbaity, but honestly, this has genuinely changed the way that I work in Logic forever. So I'm going to show you how you can make producing, mixing, everything in Logic much smoother, much faster, and much easier just by setting up some very simple custom key commands, which I'm going to share with you in a second. But before we begin, I just want to take a second to let you know that my Logic Pro Everything bundle is currently on sale. That includes every single one of my vocal chains, my mastering presets, my mixing channel strips, all for Logic Pro, all built using just stock plugins that are included with Logic. This bundle also includes my Fundamentals of Mixing in Logic Pro video course, in which I guide you through every step of mixing in Logic, right from how to correctly set up your sessions for mixing through to how to properly export your final files at the end of the process. The full price of the bundle is £189, but it's currently on sale for £99, and I've also included a discount code in the description below for you to get a further 10% off after watching this video. So if you're looking to learn how to mix in Logic and ultimately get better sounding tracks out of Logic Pro, then check that out right after this video. In the meantime, let's get into it. So if you've ever been working on a Logic session which is starting to develop, you probably come across this issue a lot of times where we begin to add plugins in, and I don't know, just add some random things here. There's no order to any of this. And the screen starts to stack up with all of these different plugin windows, and you've got to close them down. And, you know, we can add this this link window on, and it sort of helps declutter the screen. But ultimately, we're still having to close plugin windows, go over here to open them all the time. That becomes really fiddly and actually takes up quite a lot of time and also brain space, having to constantly open and close windows. Things can become cluttered quite quickly, particularly if you're working on a smaller screen on a laptop or whatever. It can be quite difficult to navigate a big session when you start having loads of plugins open and plugin windows everywhere. So I've come up with a way that I think makes this all a bit more intuitive and saves us having to keep going over to the channel strip and open up plugins and close windows like this. We can do this all using some very simple key commands. Now, firstly, if you're not familiar with custom key commands, what they are is basically custom keyboard shortcuts that you can set up in Logic to get Logic to perform functions that you want it to perform that it doesn't do by default. Now, one of the things Logic does do by default, which is actually quite annoying, is if you press any of the number keys, sometimes accidentally, you'll notice that it jumps between these different screen sets where it sort of changes the size of the screen, and it's really annoying if you accidentally hit a number on the keypad and suddenly the screen starts going all over the place. I personally, in all the years I've been using Logic, have never actually had a use for the screen sets. But what they are is basically just allows you to have different windows set up and jump between different setups. But it's a nice idea, I just never end up using it. So what I want to do is reassign these numbers on the keypad to be much more functional and actually have a use during a session. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up to the preferences up here. So I'm going to go up to Logic Pro in the corner, and I'm going to hit key commands. I'm going to go down to edit assignments. And that's going to bring up this window, which is basically a list of all of the functions and commands that Logic can perform. This is a good way of actually just learning shortcuts. If you want to know what a shortcut is in Logic, just bring up this and look at it. But you can also customize these to do whatever you want based on whatever input you give it. So what I want to do is I want to search in this bar up here, plugin with a dash. Make sure you put the dash in. And if we scroll down here, you'll notice it says open/close instrument plugin window focus track, open close audio insert 1, audio insert 2, audio insert 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on. This goes all the way up to 15. And what we can do is we can assign the numbers on the keypad to open or close the plugin windows just by pressing the numbers, save us having to constantly click with a mouse. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to here and I'm going to go learn key label, and then I'm just going to hit 1 on the keyboard. And it says keyboard shortcut 1 is already in use, recall screen set 1, you can replace this. So we're going to replace that, and we're going to hit replace again. And then we're going to do this for all of these. So I'm going to go do 2, replace, 3, replace, 4, replace, 5. That'll do for now. You understand the process. I would do this for all of them all the way up to 9. And then we're going to leave 0 because what we're going to do is come back to this in a second. But I'm going to show you, if we now go to this track and I just hit 1 on the keyboard, it's going to bring up plugin window 1, number 2, number 3. We haven't got a 4th plugin, but let's just bring up a channel strip here. If I go to my Ultimate Pop Vocals pack, let's bring up this preset chain. So you can see this has got more plugins on it. If I hit 1 on there, it's going to bring up the gain. 2 is going to bring up the EQ. 3 brings up the compressor. 4, the next compressor. 5, the next EQ, so on and so forth. And it just, I haven't set up 6, and you can see it's gone back to that screen set, which is really annoying. Where were we? There we go. Back to screen set 1. If we set that all the way up to 9, it's not going to jump between those screen sets anymore. It's going to jump between the different plugin windows. And this just completely changes the way that we have to work in Logic. We're not having to constantly go over and go, okay, I want to bring up the compressor, then I want to close the compressor, then I want to bring up the EQ, and then I want to go and bring up fat effects, and then I want to go back to the EQ. It's so much easier if we can just jump using the keyboard. I know most of the time that like my EQ is going to be first or second in the chain, and we can just skip between all the windows. So I've got the third plugin open here, for example. If I hit 3 on the keyboard, it closes it down altogether. And that's such an easy way of skipping between the plugin windows, and it's going to save so much brain power. And now I've got to the point where I've had this set up for so long that I don't actually even need to think about it. I can just sort of touch type my way through bringing up different EQs, compressors, whatever it may be, literally just by hitting a number on the keyboard, and it saves so much time. So I mentioned just now about leaving 0 free on the keyboard, and the reason for that is what I want to do now is go to open, close, instrument plugin window of focus track. And what that's going to do is if we're working on a MIDI track and we've got an instrument plugin loaded on the MIDI track, we can actually open or close that window by hitting 0. So I'm going to go learn key label, I'm going to hit 0, I'm going to accept. No, sorry, let's do that again. I'm going to hit learn key label. I'm going to replace. So now if I go back and I close this window and we go to this instrument down here, let's also add some plugins on this. We've just got a drum kit. I'm just going to chuck some basic plugins on this kit. If I hit 0, it's going to bring up the drum kit. If I hit 1, it's going to bring up the stereo delay, which is a weird thing to have as a first insert on a drum kit, but who knows, that might work. Then the EQ, then the compressor, and like we can, use these completely as normal. Go to the compressor, dial in our stuff, come back, nothing's changed. It's all there as it was. It just allows us to jump between the windows so efficiently, so easily, and it completely speeds up the workflow. One other shortcut just to link in with all of this, which is actually a default shortcut, is if you hit V on the keyboard, that will close or open whichever plugin window you had most recently open. So if I've got the EQ open and I'm not sure what number it is, I can just hit V and it's going to do it. But generally, I just look at the channel strip. I see that, okay, I want the compressor. That's number 3. We go to number 3, number 2, number 1, and so on. And it's just so much easier to navigate the session this way. So it's a super simple trick, but it literally takes 5 minutes to set up, and I guarantee you it's going to save you so much time in the long run. So I definitely recommend you just take a few minutes to reassign those numbers to the key commands I mentioned, and hopefully it's going to make your whole workflow much smoother and much better. As I said at the top of this video, if you want to improve your Logic Pro workflow even more, then check out my Logic Pro Everything Bundle, which is currently on sale, as I say. I've left a link in the description below, plus the discount code for you to get an extra 10% off. So check that out right now. In the meantime, drop me a comment below and let me know what other Logic Pro workflow hacks you like to use. And before you go, please do give this video a thumbs up and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.